So my focus is more on the software side.
Yeah.
And really for Calxeda, our software partners and ecosystem has been critical from day one. So bringing ARM to the data center and the server space, we've had to build partnerships and relationships across the spectrum, but especially in the open source community.
Yeah.
So, for example, we're fully mainline and upstream in the Linux kernel. As well as with Linux distributions, and now moving up into solution stacks as well. So it's making sure that the software we develop is rock solid, but also the partnerships are there to make it easy for people to adopt.
Now, in an ecosystem where x86 has been the standard, and x86 white box is the standard, which defined the movement in its early days, how much of a challenge has it been to adjust that mentality that there's more than x86 in this space?
I think the key for us has been building credibility in the community and showing that we can really successfully run standard Linux on an ARM core and a Calxeda system, and then really working closely with the influencers in the various communities and bringing them along with us. And people are excited to have competition and seeing a different approach to solving the data center problems with a much more power-efficient solution gets people to come along with us on the journey.
When I think ARM, specifically Calxeda, I think density and power utilization. Is there a third leg?
So there's a number of factors that go into accomplishing density that I would underscore. One is our interconnect. So low latency, high bandwidth, point-to-point interconnect that allows up to 10 gigabit bandwidth. We also do integrated management. So every one of our SoCs has a dedicated management stack that allows IPMI access. So as a server management environment that you're used to in an x86 world, those IPMI commands will work just as well on the Calxeda system.
Good. Some of the early days, I remember specifically Fedora also, there was a lot of porting work done that was heavy lifting, for lack of a better term. When we're talking about enabling stuff on Calxeda ARM, is it still heavy lifting, or have the automated tooling progressed?
That's the big milestone we hit with Fedora 18. So we've got systems in the Fedora data center for all the standard build processes. So those processes that people are used to in pre-existing Fedora releases on x86 are now there on ARM.
Good.
And so that really is the most important thing there is, from a timing standpoint, the ARM-based Fedora release is there pretty much the same time as the x86 version's out.
The first time I ever heard of your company, it was an announcement at the same time. There was a video cast, and Mark Shuttleworth came in, and you were associated closely with them for a brief period of time, and I'm sure they're still partners. But what's your strategy and relationship with the multiple players in the Linux ecosystem?
They're all important. And what we see from end users is, depending upon the use case, the application, the environment, they may have a choice of one of the key distributions. And so Mark and the Canonical team have been working with us since very early on. They had started working with ARM back in 07, 08. We were able to build off of that. And that was an exciting time with Mark being part of our really formal company launch back a couple of years ago. So we're continuing to work closely with them on all of the releases.
Looking at here.
So what you have here, I'll start with our energy card. So this is a 4-node energy card. Each node is one of our SoCs, and each node has a quad-core Cortex A9 CPU in it. We also have integrated SATA, Ethernet, PCIe, and our management stack. So in one SoC, we can run a full Linux application, and we run anywhere from about 5.5 to 6.5 watts.
Right.
And so in one card now, we have a cluster of 4 servers, all in this small footprint. And then we run our fabric, our interconnect, out through our baseboard. So in this system, which is a 2U system, we have 48 nodes, all interconnected via our fabric, with standard Ethernet coming out the back. So you can easily plug into a standard rack and standard top-of-rack switch for interconnect.
Now, when I look at this, I see the cores, I see slots for memory, I see the SATA ports on the card. Where's the storage?
So in this case, we have storage of 24 drives in front of this box.
Register.
Okay. So our boot model in our current implementation is a U-boot base with device tree, and we support either booting off of drives, but also Pixie network boot. So it really is a matter of what your target is for your deployment, as well as your existing environment. So those are all standard models that, again, a data center manager and a DevOps guy is used to and comfortable with.
Sure.
And we've really been able to demonstrate that throughout the community of that implementation.
Good. And then ARM, just from a licensing perspective, I know there's the ARM licensing group. I know you've got your own intellectual property and goodness around it on the card itself, but what do you need to do and what do you do in that upstream ARM licensing group, if anything, to contribute to that actual core development, or is that just something you take and then you build on top of?
So Calxeda is very, I think, key strategy for us with ARM is using the ARM standard core. So from that, what that really means is we consume the core from ARM as is and build into our SoC. And our investment is really around the core.
Yeah.
So it's things like our fabric interconnect.
Sure.
It's like our integrated management. It's like the optimization for the application sets.
Yeah.
So we are a partner that consumes that from ARM, and really in the standard server world, we think it's important to align with that.
Yeah.
And that also makes our upstream work in the Linux community much more straightforward as a result of that as well.
Sure.
So our focus is around innovation that's going to help that density and management, but leverage the core as we get from ARM.
What do you see as the key challenges, both on the hardware side and on the software side, for Calxeda as you guys move forward?
I think, honestly, the key for us is execution.
Yeah.
We have demonstrated a great start here. We've demonstrated some tremendous partners, and we've demonstrated the performance per watt targets that we've been talking about for quite a while, and delivering that now. So for us, it's all about scaling the company, scaling the offerings, and broadening our footprint in the data center industry.